welcome back to Life, Love, Shopping. Do you want to live a truly authentic life?
Why not do it by showing up naked?
Yeah, and Erica Boucher is an international yoga instructor, author, and life coach, and she joins us now to explain why you actually should show up naked in real life. Go figure.
Hi, Erica.
Hi, welcome.
We got to talk about your book, Showing Up Naked. Obviously, it's why the naked metaphor?
Well, it's really about living so authentically that it's like you're showing up naked. So you don't have the social mask, you don't have the pretenses. You're not faking it. You're really being honest and real and authentic. And there's a lot of freedom that comes with that.
And how did you get to that point where you thought, this is the way to live, this is going to be my philosophy?
Really, it went through a transformational process of my own. As I started exploring who I am, I was doing a lot of coaching work. I started with the homeless about 13 years ago. And I was taking them through exercises where I was asking them to answer questions like, who am I and why am I here? And I decided to go through the same exact exercises with them. And so I was answering the question for myself, who am I and why am I here?
Yeah.
And so I started peeling away the layers. I started getting more and more honest and real with myself. Who am I if I separate out what I do and what I have? Who am I without those
That's such a good point,
Yes.
because so often we identify who we are with what we do as a job.
Our job.
as a
That's how we
career.
define ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's especially important nowadays, too, because if you look at social media, for example, people fake who they are. They only put the good things out there, or they like to make their life look more fabulous than it is. So it actually really applies now, too, right?
Yeah, definitely, more than ever. And I think a big piece to talk about, if we're talking about living authentically and showing up naked, is really emotional clearing. So if you look at some of the statistics, they're staggering. Antidepressants are the #1 most prescribed drug right now, and preschoolers are the fastest growing population. 1 in 5 Americans are diagnosed with an anxiety disorder.
Sure.
58% of Americans say they suffer from insomnia at least a couple of nights a week.
Yeah.
Overweight and obesity issues are 64% of Americans are struggling with that problem. So it's telling me people are having an issue with how to deal with their emotions, with that energy that's moving through their bodies. So that's a huge piece of what we talk about in the book, Showing Up Naked.
And there's 3 different things you have for your book, right? And one of them is
Aspects.
waking up.
What does that mean?
Yeah. What
Waking
is
up.
that?
Waking up is becoming self-aware. I really believe most people are walking through life, moving through their life sort of numb, kind
Going
of
through
on
the
automatic,
motions, right?
automatic
Day to day.
pilot. Yeah. So waking up is really about becoming conscious and aware of who you are moment by moment, how you're showing up in your life, how you're showing up in your relationships, having a relationship with yourself, because your relationship with yourself is your relationship with everything else. Everything else comes from that place.
Let's talk about your yoga.
Yeah.
We're seeing some amazing pictures. How long have you been doing yoga, and how did you get into it?
I've been doing yoga for probably the first time I popped a video in the VCR, so you could see how long ago that was.
We know what you mean.
It was probably 15 years ago. And it was after doing all of the coaching and counseling work that I was doing, starting with the homeless, I realized that the way that I felt at the end of a yoga session was very similar to the way that I felt when I was doing a lot of personal development work. Just a sense of lightness and freedom. Because I really felt like I let something go.
And yoga really ties into everything. It's not just an exercise, right?
It's a lifestyle.
I even have a friend who you talk about anxiety and not being able to sleep. She was very anxious, taking lots of meds. She started yoga, and now a year later, she's not taking anything.
Wow.
She's like the most centered person I think I know. It's amazing.
It is. Yoga really, I've heard people say so many times that yoga saved their life.
Yeah.
And I think a big piece of that is the breath. One of the first things you learn when you start doing yoga is how to breathe correctly. Most of us, we come into the world breathing correctly. It's very organic. If you look at a baby sleeping in a crib, their whole body rises and falls. They breathe very, very deeply. But somewhere along the way, we start breathing very shallowly. We cut the breath off right about here. And there's a bundle of nerves at the solar plexus which actually stimulates the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight or flight response. So because we have developed habits to breathe shallowly, chest breathing, we're actually increasing our stress and anxiety just by the way that we're breathing. When we relearn something that's actually natural to the body, when we relearn to breathe deep into the belly, we're stimulating a bundle of nerves at the base of the spine, which is the parasympathetic nervous system, and that's the relaxation response. So if you breathe long, deep breathing, which is one of the first things you'll learn in yoga, for 5 minutes, it will balance you out. It is
amazing.
physiologically impossible to stay stressed if you're breathing deeply.
Is that a timed thing, like in for 10, out for 10? Like, how does that
One
breathing thing
Mississippi,
actually work?
two Mississippi.
The long, deep breathing is what we call it. And sometimes I'll tell people, breathe in for 8, hold it for a count of 2, breathe out for 8. And after a while, if that gets comfortable, lengthen it to 10
Did
or
you-
lengthen it to 12.
Did you have to do that when you posed for this picture?
Right.
Because let me say, I know it's not all physical, but you look awesome there.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you.
Lots of inspiration for us to do
Yes,
some yoga.
thank you.
Thank you. That was actually an interesting, how that all came about was very interesting. I remember one day years ago, I was thinking about,
Hold that thought. We'll continue
Yeah.
this conversation on our website with you because we want to definitely get, so stay with us. We are back in just a moment.